Now young adults, their playground dreams have been answered. They've arrived at college basketball's greatest stage, the Final Four. Here in Charlotte, Arizona and Arkansas in one semifinal, followed by Florida and Duke. But first, it'll be Arizona and Arkansas. Many feel the Razorbacks the heavyweight here at the Final Four. Hi, everybody. 1994 Final Four is underway. Thurman over Geary. Geary is a defensive specialist, but Thurman is far on the foot. Third ball. Definitely put right in the midsection. Reeves ahead. Lays it up. Score it. And a blocking call. The guys are a little bit tight right now. And I think we're playing the game in the 80s. They rejected on Williamson. Some pass to Reeves and makes it in with the left hand. How about that? He takes the ball in on one side, puts it up perfectly on the right. Williamson, right off the front of the rim. Oh, he's on track, and that's probably an important one for his confidence after that 0-for-10er. That's right. Gotta have a field goal in the last ball game with over Missouri. Williamson again down on the block. You're right, Billy. Starting to get a little flow now. Stoudemire gave him the three. You can see him setting up for it. Said we could attack more when we had longer. Now we'll go more zone. And look at the finger roll by Blair on the follow-up. Again, no block out. 5-point Arizona lead. That matches Arkansas's largest deficit of the tournament. And a three-pointer at the other end by Corey Beck. Knocking O's around inside. Williams terrific. Following up. They're going to keep the board quickness. So interesting matchup. Stewart. Wouldn't be deceived by that size. 6'9", he can really fire it from three. Reeves. Tempo picking up right now as Arkansas goes small, matches up better, changes the complexion of the game with his quickness. Daniel. What a roll now by the Razorbacks. And then we saw McMahon underneath the Flanagan. Good pass. Great dribble penetration. Williamson at the other end. They obviously saw something in the film coming into this game. But that pass, he'll fire it all the way.
Well, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. It's our Thursday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. As we brought you in, as Arkansas will be paying homage and tribute to the 1994 National Championship men's basketball team. And throughout the show, we'll play no interviews of coaches, any media availability. We'll just carry it on out. We started out with the semifinal, Arizona-Arkansas. We'll play excerpt of that second half and then get off into the national championship game between Arkansas and Duke as we finish out the last two segments, but got a real important and big show. We're going to continue on with the 6A men's and women's high school state tournament that's taking place this week in Bentonville West High School. And at 1:15, Northside will be taking on the Fayetteville Bulldogs on Friday in a semifinal, I should say quarterfinal matchup. And we're going to have on their head basketball coach, Eric Burnett, to talk about just keys to what his Grizzlies will have to do to make it on into the semifinal round on Saturday. And then at 1:30, we'll stay in the Bentonville area and talk even more 6A boys state playoffs with assistant basketball coach of the Bentonville Tigers, Tommy Deffenbaugh. They'll be taking on the defending champion, North Little Rock Charging Wildcats, and we'll get Coach Deffenbaugh's keys as to how the Tigers can knock off the defending champion. And to follow that up, yet still another defending champion, we flip over to the girls' side, and we'll have head girls coach Daryl Fimple. They'll be taking on the Fayetteville Lady Bulldogs this evening. So we'll talk to Coach Fimp and see what they must do to remain on top of the mountain in the state of Arkansas in high school girls basketball. But on to my home guy, producer, demigod in these parts, Demetrius. What's going on, brother?
Man, I'm chilling, enjoying the day. Wish the weather was a little better.
We get off into the, what do you remember, Demetrius, about your high school time? I know, basketball wasn't something really big, but what do you remember about this time of year from some of the guys that you knew and during your time in El Dorado playing high school state playoff?
I can't focus on, I didn't go to high school in El Dorado.
Oh, that's right.
I'm Korea. I was high school in Korea, but I couldn't focus on the basketball guys. I was a wrestler in high school, so I'm busy slamming bodies. So
yeah, when you talk about state, when you get into state tournament competition for whatever level, be it basketball, football, wrestling, track, talk about that time. But my time in the state playoffs, you never forget those times, I think, Demetrius, in high school. It's something that you can sit around years and years and years on down the road with your friends and sit around campfires and talk about those days. Is that something that you always remember during that time that you were wrestling?
Oh, definitely. We won the championship my freshman year in team and individual, so it was very special. Looking back, anytime we had those reunions or some type of school anniversary, they always acknowledge us. So it's big being a part of history because I think it molds you. It helps you with your confidence. It helps you with your communication skills. So I loved it, man. I just really like being a part of that team atmosphere, and not only being a part of the team atmosphere, but being a leader on the team that a lot of guys looked up to.
Well, we're going to continue on with history and team atmosphere, and we'll kick it on back to the time in Charlotte, North Carolina, semifinals versus the Arizona Wildcats. And then following that, we'll continue on and get off into 6A state playoff talk with Eric Burnett of the Northside Grizzlies. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479.
Unbelievable. Well, Reeves can't believe it himself. Despite the scouting report, he's actually laughing because he realized that. Oh, how about the bench play so far for Lute Olson in this game? That was a two-pointer. Against Virginia, Arizona did not have one bench point. Going again. Oh, yes. That'll extend it. Terry can explode, Kenny. Explode all the way and gets the roll. Terrific hustle. Stoudemire looking for his first. Holds the seven. Blair picks up the loose change and brings it under 10. Nice crossover because I think that he would have had that shot blocked by Robinson had he put it up. Danielson, hey, you gonna leave me open? It's gonna cost you 3. Oh, feeling confident. 3 jumpers he's hit from the corner. Oh, with 8 points. Arizona has a break opportunity. Reeves ahead. Tremendous finish. This is the first by the Wildcats. They brought it back within 5. Williamson backing in. Seems like whenever he touches it, he got 3 underneath. They strip it away. Gary again. Stoudemire getting in the half with 1. He's so happy. He just backed up out of bounds and said, finally, one of them is due to go to the locker room. He ties it with the 3. His first basket of the first half. Corliss Williamson down in tight. That worked all first half long. He has 16 now. They start out slowly. Stoudemire. He's taken all of their shots in the second half. McDaniel slipping, still pass to Williamson and 1. Now Gary realized he made a mistake. Slips it home. Good interior. Mike Krzyzewski will be coaching in the second game. Another member of the team. Great passing by Arizona out of the timeout. Get to the ball. Defense is right now the same thing we did.
Welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back. It's our Thursday edition. It's our February 28th edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio here live on KDSJ 479. And for those that can't catch us here on our Facebook live stream, you can catch us on our YouTube stream. Just go to On the Hill Sports Talk LLC and you can catch our live TV stream. But let's get back to the state playoffs taking place in the Diamond State of Arkansas. And what better way to kick it over to the boys' side and get a little intake. There's a big game taking place this Friday in the quarterfinals at Bentonville West High School. And the first part of that, we'll catch up down at Fort Smith Northside with head basketball coach Eric Burnett. Welcome to the Hill, my man.
Thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
Eric, when you mentioned Northside Fayetteville, you've played in the rivalry multiple times, grew up around that rivalry. Does there really need to be anything said heading into this ball game on Friday?
No, I mean, because like you said, that rivalry has been there for a long time, and I played in it. Coach Stamps was on the coaching staff, and me and him played against it, going against each other. Now we can have the coach against each other in that game, and it's just a good high school basketball game when you mention Northside and Fayetteville, play each other.
When you came off last night's game, talk about the advancement. You guys had a tough opener, but talk about some of the things that you guys were able to do that you feel good about heading into this ball game on Friday night.
Well, I just thought Jalen Williams had a really big game for us last night. He got in foul trouble early and kind of snuck him in there a little bit in the second quarter. To kind of keep him in the game and in tune. And then the second half, I just thought he took over and played really great for us. I think he had 20 points, 14 rebounds, and a couple of blocks, and probably about 5 or 6 assists. And so, I mean, as long as he keeps running like that, I feel like we always got a chance when we step on the floor.
You guys, 2 years ago, state champs, last year, state runner-up. Talk about, that experience and how you feel that it's going to help your ball club during the state tournament this, Friday and beyond.
It is, and I feel like the last 2 years is, but I got to give those credit to those guys, Isaiah Joe, Jeff Brewer. The last couple of years just shown everybody in my program what it takes to play on that high level and be successful.
Right. And
these guys just watch that, and now they want some success like those two guys have had the last couple of years. And this is a totally different team, but they have had two great leaders to show them, what it takes, and what you got to do to prepare yourself for it. And so we have had a lot of success, but that don't mean anything to Fayetteville Bulldogs. If we kick it off, Friday at 5:30, they're gonna be ready to get after us.
When you look at this ball club, I know you mentioned Jalen, but who are a couple other guys that, Coach, you have to have contributions in a major way, especially during the state tournament, in your opinion, to advance past a very well coached Fayetteville ball club.
Yes, Jalen Williams. Javion Relaford has to step up and play well for us. I got Braylon McKinley, which had a 6'6" four-man, had a really good game last night. So I'm looking for him to do that, and I'm hoping that I got a kid named Noah Gordon that had a really good game against them last time we played, and hopefully I'll be ready to go tomorrow night and play well again.
What is it about Fayetteville? You guys played them earlier back in December on their home floor, was able to, pretty much, I thought, and watching that game, you guys pretty much controlled it for the better part of the game. What is it about this team several months on down the road that concerns you heading into Friday?
Well, they was young. That was the beginning of the year, and they was young early, but now they got a lot of experience. They're starting a freshman point guard, and the big sophomore Relaford inside. They got a lot of experience. They playing with confidence. And then, Cooper, signed a D1 scholarship to go play at UCA, And then Garrett is just so physical and can rebound and so athletic. And just like you said, it's a well-coached team. And we're going to have to play. I mean, they ain't going to give us anything. I mean, they are really good. And so, it's just going to be a good game like always.
How do you describe the 6A tournament, Eric? It just seems like when you look at the tournament top to bottom, anywhere from 5 to 8 teams, you guys included, could get really hot and win this thing. How has the conference season, and just are you starting to see parity throughout 6A basketball, each and every year?
Yeah, I mean, it's this year, it's anybody's. Anybody can win state. There's not a team, and I know Bryant is out there, and they won our conference. But we beat them first conference game out,
right.
And then we had a tough game against them in the co-classic. Final of the co-classic, they beat us on the last second shot. And I just feel like it is wide open. I mean, Fayetteville and Bentonville had a great conference season in the West. So just like you said, whoever can put those 3 to 4 games back to back and peak at the right time with some confidence, that's the team that's gonna win it. And I think it's wide open right now.
I know you mentioned Isaiah Joe, Coach. He's a freshman at Arkansas, doing quite well. About to break a 3-point record, I believe, here in a game or two. Big guy Scotty Thurman. What have you seen throughout Isaiah's freshman year, and what is your take, in year one of this young basketball team here in Fayetteville?
I think Isaiah's doing a really good job. Watching the Kentucky game, I'm sitting in my house just yelling. It's unreal. I mean, he got hot and hit some big buckets. So I was, just excited to see him do that. Like Calipari put something in the paper. One of the guys that was guarding came, to timeout and said, "Coach, I can't guard him. We're going to put somebody else on him." And Calipari come back in the post-game interview and said, "Well, we had to switch him off Isaiah because if we wouldn't, Isaiah probably would have had 46 on us." And so, I mean, just excited to see that, Calipari give him some props and Isaiah just keep playing hard and putting in that extra work to perform when he steps on the floor.
Well, my man, as always, Eric, I'll be up on Friday. Thanks for taking time out. I know you guys are about to prepare a little practice workout to go over the Fayetteville game plan. But as always, good luck, and thanks for taking time out here on OTH, my brother.
Thank you. I appreciate you having us on to talk about that big rivalry, Fayetteville and Northside tomorrow.
All right, Bernie. That was Eric Burnett, Fort Smith Northside head basketball coach. Demetrius, I grew up with this Fayetteville Northside rivalry, both playing in the football side, going to a lot of the basketball games. There's not a better rivalry, I think, in basketball because these are two storied programs. And I anticipate at 5:30 there to be a lot of people in Bentonville West High School, a lot of excitement because Northside came into Fayetteville back in early December and knocked them off. And it was mostly them controlling the game. Now, the pace flipped over. They were able to get back in the game. But, I mean, you heard Coach Bernie say parity. Does that make for a good thing in such a high-stakes tournament, such as the state tournament?
Definitely. You want to see those great games in atmospheres and settings like the state tournament. A lot of times you sometimes will get mismatched teams in the state tournaments, but it's great when you do get your money's worth as a fan to come there and see teams in your area really compete at a high level.
I know, when you look at this conference, and I've seen it a lot, and it starts in the AAU summer ball circuit. You see a lot of kids throughout the state that are participating at their respective high schools that play a lot of summer basketball for a lot of highly competitive organizations, some in the EYBL, some in the Under Armour, some Adidas, but that's something I think the state of Arkansas, they've really made strides in promoting the off-season basketball programs. Arkansas is one of the few states that can't play competitive ball with your competitive teams on the weekends, and so I think that's real important that the kids get a lot of basketball under their belt as the season progresses on. What better way to do it than the summertime? But we're going to continue on, and we said we're going to take you on a walk as Arkansas's 1994 national championship team will be honored in Bud Walton Arena during the Ole Miss halftime this Saturday. So we're going to flip it over, and I know you guys are going to remember this moment. It's the 1994 Arkansas Duke game We'll let you walk through, and when we come back, Tommy Deffenbaugh, assistant coach of the Bentonville Tigers. He'll be joining us here on OTH. Back in a moment.
And here we are. Hi again, everybody. I'm Tony Sylvester at the Final Four for the third time, and they all drew the championship game assignment. We're underway for the national championship. Double up, leave Capel open. Freshman launches a three. 5-0 Duke.
Capel coming off that brilliant Purdue. What put this club in the Final Four?
Tough pass, got away from Biley. Thurman, good shooter. Arkansas on the board with a 2. Here's Beck. He'll take it to the paint. Good move.
Beck does not look to shoot enough, according to Nolan Richardson. And you can see he has the ability with that power body that's trimmed down to 190 from 220 to do it.
Great dish. Capel to Hill. Freshman. Hill has it stripped. Thurman.
Great defensive play.
Good passing. Williamson to Stewart. That's what we talked about early, Billy. Corliss showing some really great passing skills here at the Final Four.
And not only makes them
Underneath Beck on the block.
second time today, Beck has taken a guard into the hole. Once on the be aware of the way the game's being called.
McDaniel. Three-pointer. Razorbacks. He fired up 7 threes in the semifinal as Lang hits from the inside.
How about that? Both teams scoring off inbound play. He has to stay in the game. He's got to play a 30-minute game. And there's one that Mike Krzyzewski wanted.
Collins with a three-pointer at the other end. Clark batted it in. Clark. Solid minute off the bench again. Capel looking for help. He finds it in Lang. And now Arkansas has tied its largest deficit of the entire tournament. They're down 5.
Christian, one of the all-time competitors, and just challenged him every day.
Thurman with a sweet jumper on the side.
All SEC performer, 2 years.
Remots got a pick to help clear the shot. Duke almost tipped it in. Stewart once. Stewart again. Good play by Dwight Stewart.
He and Wilson played volley. And Duke not getting the ball in Grant Hill's hands in scoring position.
Cherokee, that's what you call scoring position.
The bounce, that one not a good idea.
Wilson leans in. 4 points, 4 rebounds. Not the production they didn't necessarily expect it.
Williamson getting position on Grant Hill.
Williamson inside. Duke had Parks and Hill around him. Lang open.
New Trident Tropical Beat Vibes with bursts of mango peach flavor that pop.
And Capel running. Here comes Capel. Beck challenging. Capel.
Terrific job by the freshman because Corey Beck is a tremendous defender.
And the Duke team slaps its hands on the floor for an extra lift of defense. Williamson knocked the Duke player down. Knocked down Parks, but he banks it home. 29. Beck.
Jim, I don't know if I've seen close.
Meek now trying to defend Williamson. Boy, once Williamson gets it right there on the block with your defender behind it, it's over. McDaniel and Dillard in the Arkansas backcourt now. Thurman, 3. It's into the first half of the score. Arkansas 34, Duke 33. CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA. Gave it up at the last second. Great. Capel in the lane. And Beck wants wants to push it up the floor. Beck backs it home.
Grant Hill got it.
They call it at Arkansas the breaking point. They're looking for it in every game. Capel. He had to get up high against Kansas back in '91. I'll never forget that. Collins, his second of the game, a three-pointer. That puts Duke ahead by 4, 42-38. Backing him in, and Hill stripped it away. 3-on-1 Duke. To Lang.
And this is a little bit shocking.
Arkansas has not trailed by this many the entire tournament. Capel, double-digit lead. That's a three-pointer.
Now, is Richardson going to call a timeout? You got to remember, as great as Arkansas is, they are a young team.
Timeout Razorbacks.
Boy, he's so smooth.
That stops the Duke run. They had 13 unanswered.
Up and excited that he loses concentration.
They beat him on the inbound. Back to Williamson.
Welcome in. It's our February 28th edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. Momentarily trying to make connection with assistant basketball coach of the Bentonville Tigers, Coach Tommy Deffenbaugh, to talk big game keys. They're going to be taking on the North Little Rock Charging Wildcats, defending 6A champions of a year ago. Big ball game for yet another 6A West local ball club taking on yet another tough 6A Central. And I mean, what does it do to the economy, Demetrius, when you can have a state tournament in your area? And you know, Bentonville West is a relatively new high school. What does that do, for the exposure side of things, when you put on a state tournament?
It just builds the brand, shows people the facilities, the staff, the type of players, and not only that, the type of education you could potentially get at the school.
Spring football, 4:30. We kick this thing off. Lots and lots and lots of excitement. I was home last night, Demetrius, and looking at some of the roster possibilities. I mean, there could be upwards of 3 to 4 to possibly 5 true freshmen having a realistic chance, to break this starting lineup, don't you think?
Yeah, and I think Chad isn't going to hold back from those young ones playing. I think now that he's starting to see that roster turnover to it being his guys, I think he really understands the value of really getting his guys experience. Of course, all the guys are on the team, so I don't want to make it seem like his guys. When I say his guys, I mean the guys he went out and recruited.
Right.
I don't mean his favorites, but I think he's not going to hold back this year. I think he has nothing to lose. I think he understands that he has to build upon those wins. He has to get more than 2 wins, so I think he's going to do whatever it takes to surpass those 2 wins.
I really feel good about, with Raheem Boyd being out, Devois Whaley having a chance to step in that role as being that senior leader. I know last year he was counted on to be the elder statesman in the room, and I felt like, due to some injuries and just not having the junior season, that I thought and so many other people thought, that he came out Under Armour All-American. So you kind of hope that he goes out. And it starts in the spring with a great senior campaign here at the University of Arkansas. I think there's a possibility. Also, too, I'm really interested to see the offensive line. How that goes out. What 5 guys will Coach Dustin Fry, put out, and how will the offensive line develop? And you start to see how that rotation is going to take place. These are the 2 biggest things, and then I want to see how much competition will be put on the wide receiving core with Colin Jackson, who I think is ready for a breakout year and be able to get in the rotation and be a very important contributor. I look for Mike Woods. I want to see the growth of Jordan Jones being a fourth-year junior. I think it's time for him to step forward. And also, too, there's going to be some hungry ones, Demetrius, and Knox, Nash, Jackson, and Burks. I mean, these guys are hungry, and they're going to be wanting to get in here in Fayetteville and not just play, but really contribute at a very high level for Coach Stepp in that offense, don't you think?
Definitely. Going back to Devois, I think Devois is set up to have a great year. I think a lot of people are somewhat counting him out as far as an impact player because of the success that Raheem Boyd has. And I think that's only an opportunity for Devar to really flourish. Anytime you have a 2-tandem back, I think it lightens the load. And I think it doesn't put so much pressure on Devar to feel like he has to go out there in and out. I know a lot of players like the fact that they are called upon, but it's good to know that when you do go out there, you're 100%. And I think that's the key to Devar this year. He's going to have to stay healthy because I think he is going to have a better line. I think they are going to have a better identity, and I think they are going to be a more physical point of attack team from the offensive linemen.
That does make a lot of sense. Chase Hayden, a guy that I really think's gonna have to. This might be his money year. Do you think this is the year that Chase has to step up? And we're gonna flip this because I want everybody to see you on screen and you give your opinion. But the question is Chase Hayden, is this year Chase Hayden has to be a real contributor? And if not, Demetrius, in your opinion, what do you think happens, going into his senior year? Because he's going to be a junior. How important is this spring for him?
Oh, it's huge. He was one of the guys that I thought might potentially leave and maybe transfer just because he wasn't getting the type of exposure that he wanted as far as playing time. But I think Chase can be a very critical part because it never hurts to have that third down back because we always know the SEC is a physical conference, and I think many times so many players are forced to go out there, like I said earlier, nicked up and banged up. But I think Coach Morris is going to have the luxury of having three backs that he knows has experience in the SEC. Two, it's his second year within the system, and three, just the talent that all three backs possess. I think they all bring something different to the table.
Taking on the assistant coach to the Bentonville Tigers, Tommy Deffenbaugh. Deuce, welcome back to the Hill.
What's going on, P-Funk? How we doing? How we doing today?
Doing real good. State tournament. I know this is the time of year. If you're a coach and a player, Deuce, you have to be excited because to me, this boys 6A tournament is as wide open as I've seen in 5 to 7, 8, 10 years. What's the general feel from your ball club heading into today's ball game?
Well, we're playing pretty good. And Fayetteville, of course, they won our league and our division. We got second. Rogers got third, playing real well. West is already out, Springdale's out, and Harbor's already out. So there's three of us still left. We think very highly of our Northwest Arkansas area conference 6A, but the Central still holds the cards, so to speak. They were defending champs. You got North Little Rock defending champs last year, and they've already beaten us in a non-conference game earlier in the year. You had Central out of the Central Conference. They've already beaten Fayetteville, who won our conference.
Right.
So Northside's beaten Fayetteville. So there's three teams over there on that side that has already beaten our top teams in our league. So you got to give it to the Central. But I tell you what, we're up in Northwest Arkansas. All of us are still playing. The ones that are still playing, we got something to play for. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be fun today. Let's see what happens.
With the experience of having already had a game under your belt, you have some tape of North Little Rock against you guys. How do you think that's going to help? I know you guys maybe have had a chance to scout North Little Rock because they had to play last night. What have you seen, from that game to this game that maybe you guys can exploit this evening?
Well, North Little Rock's tradition. Coach Rice, what he's all about. He's going to bring a tough brand of basketball, tough man-to-man pressure at different points and times in the game. Last night he showed us that he's got some other tricks up his sleeve. He showed a little 1-2-2 half-court trap and mixed it up on Springdale a little bit, so we saw that. But, personnel-wise, Colin Moore is still the guy that kind of he's a straw that makes that drink go down there.
Right.
He's so athletic, very talented player. He's a senior. Like you said, they won it last year. I think his sophomore year, they probably got second to Northside. So he's, Colin and North Little Rock have consistently been in the 7A, 6A West state championship year in and year out. So you better bring your best game. You better bring your A game. You better know how to defend. You got to keep them in front of you. They're very quick, very athletic, and probably the biggest thing that we took away from last night, Pat, is you better take care of the basketball against them.
Right.
Because they're going to come at you with a lot of pressure. They want to turn you over. They're going to try to get in transition. We've got to make shots. You know, Coach Rip and myself, our staff, we've talked. That's probably our biggest thing that we've got to do tonight against North Little Rock. We've got to make some shots.
Right.
And that's easier said than done, Pat. But if you don't make shots, they get rebounds. They get going in transition.
Right.
It makes their transition a lot easier to get going in because they don't have to take the ball out of bounds. And if we can make some shots, get them to take the ball out of bounds, slow it down just a tad. No, we're not going to just walk it up ourselves, but we got to make shots so they have to take the ball out of bounds.
Hey, Tommy, as always, I'll be able to catch that ball game. Wish you luck. And, man, you do a great job with these kids in that program. And as always, TD, thanks for taking time out here on OTH.
It's fun. I appreciate it. Call me anytime.
All right, bud.
All right, buddy. Thanks, man.
That was Tommy Deffenbaugh, assistant basketball coach for the Bentonville Tigers. They're going to be taking on the North Little Rock Charging Wildcats, defending 6A state champs tonight at Bentonville West High School in the second round of the state tournament. So if you want to get out, go watch some good basketball. Bentonville High School, you can see North Little Rock take on the Bentonville Tigers. But there's another big-time ball game with the North Little Rock defending state champions, as they'll be taking on the Fayetteville Bulldogs. We're going to catch up here momentarily with their head basketball coach and see the game keys heading into tonight's ball game with head coach Daryl Fimple. Let's take a walk on back to that national championship game in a moment. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479.
Robinson rejected by Parks. Back to the rim. Beck wants to run with it. 5-on-2. Sees Thurman behind. Right inside to Williamson. Stewart. Arkansas has cut it to 2. Start to see some signs of fatigue. Mike Krzyzewski recognized it. Lang has it taken away. McDaniel, a 4-4 sprinter. Fastest Razorback. Clint McDaniel puts Arkansas ahead 54-52. And Capel better be careful. He's making some. Ball deflected by Robinson. Razorbacks steal it again. Stewart was thinking about going up with a 3. Robinson. He can shoot that ball. Yep. He's not afraid to shoot from the outside. They got some big guys. 12 made three-pointers. Rebound to Stewart. Here's Dillard now. He's amazing. You give him an inch, and he really is. Unbelievably quick release. Look at this. Stewart got 11 out of 15 in the tournament from three-point land, and Williamson follows it up. How about those hands? One. First offensive rebound I can remember. 3. That's a huge 3 for Duke. That cuts the lead to 2. 3 goes to his zone. And that means Collins is open. Oh, I got it. Jim, a big move. Collins with confidence. Arkansas made a mistake there. Clark saves it. Capel. 65 all. He really has that bounce step, doesn't he? He goes in there, gets the jump shot. Look at the strength of Williamson. They got it in underneath, and Williamson puts Arkansas back in front. 20 for Williamson. Arkansas, Stewart, partially blocked by Hill, but Williamson in 1. Too strong. That rebound by Hill gives him a career high. Now he goes for the tie. He gets it. Stewart's open. Stewart. 1 on the shot clock. Thurman beat it. Oh! He got it. Green.
Welcome back, everyone. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. And real quick, before we get on and continue on the 6A state tournament playoff talk with our next guest, let's give a shout out to our sponsors real quick. Lindsay & Associates with an office location in Fayetteville, an office location also too in Rogers. The Baymont Hotel, it's located at 735 South Shiloh Drive. Locomotion, located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall, and our newest sponsor, Corey Beck's Custom Painting. And now on to the main thing. There's a big event taking place for those that have just tuned in and maybe be under a rock a little bit, taking place at Bentonville West High School, the 6A Boys and Girls State Tournament. And they've got another big one. Fayetteville High Lady Bulldogs will take on the defending state champion North Little Rock Lady Charging Wildcats. And we thought we'd catch up with the man and defending coach of the hour, Daryl Fimple. Coach Fimple, welcome back to the Hill.
Hey, it's great to be back. How's everything going?
Going good, Coach. You had a tough one last night. What did you learn from last night's game that you can take into this big matchup versus the Lady Purple Dogs here in a couple of hours?
Well, I think anytime you get to experience the state tournament, play a game, and kind of get the nerves out a little bit, I think it's only going to help us tonight. So having kind of a mix of a young team and some of their first times in the state tournament, I think we came out good, played a lot of kids, and kind of got all the nerves out of us. So it should be a battle tonight.
When you look at both teams, the youth is quite evident on both sides. What do you think the keys will be? Will it come down to whose bench will be able to be more productive over a 4-quarter period, in your opinion?
Oh, I think so. I think just the style of play of us playing so many kids and the speed that we want to play at, it's going to be hard. And Sasha, go for us, one of the top players in the country, and she's so talented in transition. So it's going to be a big key staying up with her in transition. But and Vic's always got them ready to play, and they're kind of battle tested too in the state tournament. And I look forward to be a spectacular game tonight.
When you look at the inside game, you guys have a decided advantage in, I believe, freshman Amari Williams. Talk about Amari and how has she progressed? I know it's real early in her high school career, but how important will she be tonight for you guys?
Well, and that's been the key to our success. We've been down the stretch there. We've won I think 7 in a row, 7 of our last 8, something like that, and a lot of it's been because we've gotten more comfortable with Amari, and Amari's kind of grown up a little bit. And, we figured out, she's our best, offensive weapon. And she's such a good passer. That's what she doesn't get a lot of credit for. She's a young kid, but, she reads double teams real well. She's a willing passer, and she just kind of makes us go if we play through her. And she's a huge advantage. She's just she's a really talented kid. She's just 14 years old. She didn't even, turn 15 yet.
Oh, wow.
And, the sky's the limit. She's got great hands. She's really composed to be, be a post kid. Being a post kid is extremely hard because it's extremely physical.
Right.
A lot of nights, they expect you to play through a lot of stuff. And she's really done a good job of doing that. So, it's one of those things that you want your teams to play well at the end of the year. And we're kind of battle tested. And I think that's what we're doing right now.
When you look at the girls' 6A state tournament, Daryl, I think this year, as far as quality talent that will be on that floor in each and every game on both sides, it has to be something that you hadn't seen. I mean, is this pretty much the deepest as far as talent goes that you've ever had a chance to be a part of in the state tournament?
And I think that's just the explosion in girls basketball in Arkansas.
Right.
It goes all the way from 6A down. I mean, you have Elton and Little Rock Christian playing tonight. That's going to be a phenomenal game down there. You're looking at 8 or 9 college kids on the floor, and if you look at us in Fayetteville tonight, there's going to be 9 or 10 college kids on the floor. So, it's a high level, it's a high level sport definitely in Arkansas right now. It's kind of a hotbed. I mean, last night alone there was probably 5 or 6 Division I coaches there. Coach Neighbors was there to watch. Like I told Mike, it's gonna be hard to keep them all there, just because there's so many of them. So
right.
Good luck with that. But it just shows you, and there's so many good basketball coaches, and on the girls' side especially. I mean,
right.
It just from top to bottom. And we've played all over the country, and I would put our bunch up against anybody there is statewide. So you add that with great players, it equals, some phenomenal women's basketball.
Well, coaches always love having you on, Daryl. I love the tremendous job and the program that you've built there at North Little Rock. But good luck tonight, and thanks for taking time out here on OTH, my man.
Hey, love being on. Thanks, bud.
That was Daryl Fimple of the Northside Lady Charging Wildcats, defending state champions. They'll be taking on the Fayetteville Lady Purple Dogs in what will be, a big-time matchup. Like you said, there's going to be a lot of D1 basketball talent at Bentonville West High School. Not only tonight, but you can catch it Friday, you can catch it Saturday. So if you want to get out and see great high school talent, as I said it yesterday, Demetri, I'll say it again, you'll see most of these kids playing at Division I powerhouses on national TVs throughout the conference, multiple conferences throughout the country. But I want to give a thank you to all our guests. First up, we had Eric Burnett of the Northside Boys Grizzlies for giving us his take on their upcoming game versus the Fayetteville Bulldogs this Friday. Also, too, Tommy Deffenbaugh, assistant coach of the Bentonville Tigers. He came on, and they'll be taking on the defending North Little Rock Charging Wildcats, also at Bentonville West this evening. And lastly, Daryl Fimple of the North Little Rock Charging Wildcats, defending champions. They're also, too, going to be taking on the Fayetteville Bulldogs this evening in another big matchup. When you talk North Little Rock, and you talk Fayetteville's girls basketball, if you're a paying customer, you already know what you're going to get when you sit down. Real quick, I want to give a shout out to all our sponsors, Lindsay & Associates, with an office location in Fayetteville, an office location also too in Rogers. The Baymont Hotel, it's located at 735 South Shiloh Drive. Locomotion, located at below the Northwest Arkansas, and our newest sponsor. And lastly, Corey Beck's Custom Painting. Until tomorrow, it's the A, and lots going to be taking place as Arkansas has a lot going on this weekend in the sports world. But for my